Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and more. Follow Elliot in the Morning everywhere social at EITM Online.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. My first question for you is, how did it go? How was the procedure?
How was the procedure? It was great. It was great. The medicine wasn't good, though.
See,
there's the expensive kind you have to pay for, and then there's the stuff your insurance company covers, and that stuff is just like rot gut, and you walk around like doubled over for 18 hours afterwards.
although I will tell you this, I thought the prep was horrible, but the procedure's nothing. You go to sleep, you wake up, and everything's fine. I mean, that part's easy. The getting ready for the procedure, though, drinking that garbage, unless you had the pills, but drinking the garbage is the worst. I love the results of drinking the garbage, though.
Oh. You get rid of the garbage. Yeah, well, there you go. You know what I love? I love is after they wake you up and they're like, yeah, man, you look good. You're like, great. I don't have to deal with this for another 5 years. Fantastic.
Hey, can I ask you this, though? And Bill, listen, I don't know what your home life is like, but did you have to go to, obviously Bill Burr had a colonoscopy, but did you have to go to like a clinic where essentially there's like 10 people that are all lined up, and then one by one they kind of wheel you in, they do the procedure, which is it's very quick, and then they take you out, and then the next one goes in? Or because you're famous, do you get to do, like, you're not in a row of people and everybody's walking by going, oh my God, it's Bill Burr?
Yeah, no, I was in that row, and I was actually thinking to myself, every year they keep lowering the age of when you're supposed to get these, and there's all of these people here. It's like, how much of this is actually real, or they're just making money on this procedure? Because it was literally like being in the drive-through line at McDonald's at like 1 a.m. It's winding around the block. You're in and out in like 40 minutes. They're just knocking these things out. And I remember first it was like, you got to get it when you're over 50. And then it was like, maybe 47, 45, 40. Now it's like in your 30s. I don't know. It's starting to think like, I don't know. But I mean, look, I'd rather do the procedure than die of ass cancer. So,
well,
good.
You know what? I guess when you kind of balance the scales, Bill, maybe you are on to something. Now, let me ask you one more side of that. Did you what did you download to watch?
Oh, I've been watching a bunch of French stuff. I'm trying to learn the language because I want to go there and be totally fluent. Do a stand-up show in all French in Paris and just trash Parisians for how arrogant they are. Even though I think they have a well-earned arrogance, but it would just be funny to break all the stereotypes. To be an American, not be fat, to actually be traveling, and to be able to speak another language, and then absolutely trash them, I think that they would love it. So I watched this show. It was called Le Chant de Loup, which is the cry of the wolf, which is a nuclear submarine drama that has one of my favorite French actors. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but he was in this movie in 2009 called A Prophet, which was a prison movie that was unbelievable.
Huh.
A Prophet. Look it up, man. You should definitely check that out. And then I saw a documentary on this French designer called Wonder Boy, where he was adopted, and he came from this really loving family, but like the whole thing was about how, because he didn't know who he was from and who his parents were, how that like sort of drove him and haunted him, and the questions of why would you give me up? Really an incredible thing.
I will make.
I watch those.
I will make a note. You did in terms of the culture scale. You did far better than I did, Bill Burr. You did far better than I.
I am a recovered meathead, but I am still a meathead.
Hey, I was reading something about you, and maybe I just took it for granted that others have done it. Hell, maybe I took it for granted that you have done it. But I was reading something that said, obviously you're out on tour now. When you play Fenway Park, which I'm sure is massive for you, When you play Fenway Park, is it true you'll be the first comedian to play Fenway?
Yeah, to play Fenway, not to play a baseball stadium. Gabriel Iglesias played Dodger Stadium twice.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just doing one show. I just had the Sunday show. Gabe had the the 2 Friday, 2 Saturday thing.
Is that
So I've never played once, so I have no idea how it's going to be. My concern is that, I know what I have to do because I know there's no roof on that thing, so the laughs are going to go up.
right?
So I just got to play to the whole place while listening to that front section and have a good time. And, it's an hour and 15 minutes of my life that I'll never forget. I'm looking forward to it.
I was going to ask, listen, you've done everything from Madison Square Garden and arenas and I mean, you've played everywhere, Bill, except obviously Fenway Park. Are you nervous about it at all? I mean, I saw when you threw out the first pitch at Fenway, and you did a very nice job. And obviously it's Boston, so it means something to you. But do you get nervous to do Fenway?
Oh, not now. I mean, what's no point in? I mean, I'm motivated by it. I'm definitely doing a ton of spots, making sure that I'm ready. But I mean, I'm sure I'll be a little nervous before I go out there. But once I get out there, I'll be all right. Is
it that much different doing an outdoor show? Because that's something that would have never crossed my mind.
The whole laughs rising.
Everything goes up. Well, I mean, obviously your special that's streaming on Netflix live at Red Rocks. And at one point you even referenced during the show of this is a spectacular place and we're outside and we're getting hit in the face with the wind and the whole thing is I guess I never took into account that a room would sound different if there was no roof on the building.
Yeah, and especially if it's not designed for comedy. So that's the one thing. So we'll see how that goes. But I've played some amphitheaters. I love those as long as it's not super hot out and there's not a bunch of flies. It's pretty cool. But I did back-to-back amphitheaters down in Florida, and the first night I played Tampa, and it had just rained. And sometimes when it rains, it makes it hotter. This one actually made it cooler, and there was a breeze, and it was amazing. It was one of my favorite shows I've ever done. And then the next night I was in West Palm Beach, and it was hot, sticky, muggy Florida. And I came off stage, and I saw the back of I had a button-down shirt on. I looked like I helped somebody move. I had that, the sweat they put on people in movies?
Right.
It's okay, nobody sweats like that. Yeah, it was like that. I was just like, wow. Wow. But it was still fun shows or whatever. So, Boston in August can be pretty brutal, so I might need bug spray. I have no idea. We'll see.
Hey, is Red Rocks becoming kind of well, I should ask, have you played Red Rock? Had you played Red Rocks prior to shooting for the special?
Technically I did. I was working the Comedy Works, and they had a Sick and Twisted animated festival there or something, like adult-rated cartoons. This is back when South Park was just first coming out, so they used to have festivals like that, and they wanted a couple comics to go on before it because they'll just show a movie out there. It's really an incredible venue. So they just wanted some comedians to go up there. So I went up there and, bombed. There was just people walking around. I was I did okay, you know what I mean? But nobody came there to see a comedian. It
right.
was so, it's just one of those, they always do that though. They feel well, they'll just be sitting around before this thing everybody really wants to see. Oh my God, we should throw a comedian in there so they stay entertained. And it's no, they just want to talk to each other about this thing they're about to see that they're excited to see. And then they always stick one of us in there. That's why we end up getting heckled and all of that stuff. They always come up with that idea. You know what would be great right before the inauguration? What if we have a comedian go up there and it's just no, these people all want to talk about how much money they're going to make because their guy just got in.
But I was going to say, it seems like Red Rocks is becoming a little bit of a place. Obviously, you have to be at a certain level, but it seems like Red Rocks, or at least with the comedians that they brought in at a good level, it almost seems like Red Rocks is becoming. It's known very well as being a music venue, but it seems like they're starting to put more and more big name comedians in there.
Yeah, if you look at the history of it, Bill Cosby played it a long time ago. Pryor played it. There has been comedians that were there, but I think, the way the internet ripped down the music industry, it elevated comedy. And just because, I don't know, the whole music industry was evil, but there was a star-making process over there, and Napster was the first torpedo.
Right.
And that destroyed that industry, and I don't know how bands make it now, but probably the way I guess comedians do. But comedians are perfect for now because no one wants to hear a joke twice, while simultaneously no one wants to watch, you binge watch a series. All right, give me something else, and how long it takes, to write an album, how long it takes to, write and shoot and edit a movie or a TV series, where comedy is just every day, topical stuff, bam, 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 bam. You can keep feeding the ADD that everybody has now. And I think that the void created by the music business collapsing, comedians came in and filled that vacuum.
But you know what I always give comedians credit for, Bill, is for example, the Live at Red Rocks is streaming now and pretty recently. And now there's obviously you're out on tour and you're doing shows all over I feel like everybody knows this, but anybody who buys a ticket and is going to go see Bill Burr, it's not the same material that Live at Red Rocks is. So I do give you guys a ton of credit, the good ones, a ton of credit, because you're still promoting for anybody who didn't see you out on the road when you were doing that, and then Red Rocks comes out, there's a whole new hour that's out that you've had to write and rehearse and perfect and work and work and work so that it's ready, so that you can go out on a tour, so that when somebody walks into, Fenway Park and goes to the stadium, they don't go, boy, he should have practiced this a little bit. It seems very rough.
Right. Yeah, no, that's the name of the game. You just keep going, and it's just and then the fear of that, and then losing your whole following, and then having to start over again, try to make it again, which is practically impossible unless you're like John Travolta. There's only a few guys I saw do it, and it's well, he didn't really have to make it again. He just had to get himself viewed to be in the better movies again. You know what I mean? Because he's doing Look Who's Talking, Look Who's Talking To. And then Tarantino comes around, puts him in Pulp Fiction, and reminded everybody, oh, yeah, this guy's one of the best actors out there. So, fortunately, I love doing stand-up, and I'm also an idiot, so I'm constantly screwing up in my life, so there's plenty of material. And, the hours come pretty easy, and it's something I've been doing for a long time. I'm just psyched that I get to live this life.
And between whether it's stand-up comedy, doing TV shows, doing movies, producing movies, and as busy as it is, I want to say I heard you say that for the first time, you obviously fly helicopters, but for the first time, did you take a passenger up in a helicopter? Yeah.
One of my opener, the night you see the guy walking out at the end of the Red Rock special, I went up with him.
The guy that you did mushrooms with, but
Dean Del Rey, allegedly got me the mushrooms.
Was that nerve-wracking to take somebody up for the first time?
It was anticlimactic because I was over prepared, I think, for that moment. And but the one thing I did learn is, when I was going through a couple different airspaces, I got to make sure that I'm not shooting the breeze with him, as I really have to was paying attention, because usually you're talking to the other person, but for most part with me it was another pilot, so we just automatically you hear your tail number like your name, And I missed like 2 radio calls where they're like, calling out my thing, something, Bravo, are you there? It's like, yeah, sorry about that. So it's like anything, you learn as you go.
Bill Burr, live at Red Rocks, is now streaming the Slight Return Tour, August 10th in New York, Forest Hill Stadium, September 15th in D.C. at Capital One Arena. Bill Burr, nice to talk to you. I appreciate the time, my friend.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for helping me try to sell some tickets here.
Hey, you got it. Thanks, Bill.